You close your eyes. You see the life you want, clearly. You visualize with vivid color. You affirm with conviction. You sit in silent meditation, imagining the feeling of having it already. You do everything the books say, and still, your life doesn't move, the money doesn't come. The relationship stays distant. The healing you hope for remains on the horizon. You begin to wonder, quietly at first, then louder. Am I broken? This is the invisible struggle of so many. The part that no one talks about in manifestation circles. Doing all the right spiritual things and still feeling stuck. It's a silent kind of suffering. A dissonance that hums underneath your efforts. Because deep down, you don't just want a new reality. You want to understand why it hasn't arrived. The answer lies in a profound spiritual and energetic law. The universe does not respond to your desires. It reflects your dominant emotional frequency. This is not a punishment. It's not spiritual bureaucracy. It's coherence. It's how energy works. You may want abundance. You may even repeat it like a mantra. I am abundant. But if your subconscious, the emotional body that houses your deepest beliefs, is still radiating lack, fear, or shame, then those vibrations are what the universe will reflect. This is the invisible gap, the space between what your conscious mind intends and what your subconscious truly believes. Bruce Lipton's work in Epigenetics and Behavioral Biology unveils this truth with scientific clarity. Over 95% of your behavior, and more importantly, your emotional responses, are not controlled by your conscious will. They are automatic, born from the subconscious mind. They come from childhood imprints, unprocessed trauma, repeated emotional cycles. And while your words may say, I deserve love, your inner child may still whisper, I'm not enough. That whisper becomes your signal. That becomes your vibration. The universe doesn't judge that signal. It simply matches it. Let's take a metaphor. Imagine your subconscious as a radio tower, constantly broadcasting your frequency into the energetic field. You may speak affirmations into the air, but if the tower is still tuned to a lower channel, one of pain, doubt, or old wounds, then the frequency reaching the quantum field is incoherent. And the response you receive reflects that incoherence. More waiting, more resistance, more of the same. This is why you can meditate every morning and still feel anxious by noon. You can visualize wealth while still being terrified of spending money. You can affirm that love is coming while still grieving a heartbreak that never healed. The vibrational message that dominates is not the one you speak, it's the one you feel. This is not to blame you, it's to awaken you. You are not failing. You are broadcasting the emotional truth of your past, and the universe is simply honoring it without punishment, but also without exception. To bridge this gap between desire and vibration, you must first recognize it exists. Not as a flaw in you, but as a natural result of emotional conditioning. If for decades you've been immersed in scarcity, survival, or self-protection, your nervous system will resist the vibration of ease or joy. Not because it doesn't want it, but because it doesn't recognize it as safe. The body clings to what it knows, even if it hurts. So how do you shift this? How do you close the invisible gap? Not by pushing harder, not by repeating more affirmations, but by gently, consistently teaching your emotional body a new frequency, one that feels both elevated and familiar. Begin by observing the emotional signature you live in most often. Is it one of hope or fear, trust or tension? Begin to notice how your body responds when you speak your desires aloud. Does your chest expand or does your stomach tighten? This is your signal. This is your broadcast. Then, instead of trying to fix it, invite it into awareness, sit with it, honor it, and begin to offer small moments of contrast. Not grand gestures, but gentle practices of emotional safety and alignment. Breathwork, gratitude, gentle movement, listening to music that opens your heart. These are not distractions, they are frequency adjusters. They recalibrate your emotional body to hold new energy. The truth is, manifestation doesn't begin with vision. It begins with vibration. And your vibration is shaped most powerfully by what your emotional body believes to be true, not what your conscious mind hopes will be true. So before we ask, how can I manifest more? We must ask, what am I truly vibrating now? Because until you acknowledge and embrace the gap, no technique, no matter how spiritual, will override the frequency you unconsciously broadcast. And yet, the moment you see the gap not as a failure, but as an invitation to reconnect with your emotional truth, you begin to close it, with compassion, with presence, with power. That's when the universe listens differently. Not because it has changed, but because you have. And so you begin to shift. You realize it's not just about wanting more, but about becoming more emotionally coherent. You start to recognize the gap, not as a wall, but as a bridge. And yet, even as you close that distance, another illusion often takes its place, a quieter one, a more subtle distortion of truth. The belief that manifestation is about controlling the future. You've been told to visualize outcomes, to script your dreams, to command the universe with clarity. And while intention is powerful, it often disguises a hidden avoidance, a subtle attempt to bypass the discomfort of the now. You write affirmations not from presence, but from urgency. You meditate, not in peace, but in escape. The present moment becomes a problem to be solved, a barrier between where you are and where you want to be. But this is where manifestation becomes distorted, because manifestation is not a future event. It's not a reward for effort. It is a reflection of your present emotional signature, the frequency you emit now, not the one you hope to attain later. Many people unknowingly try to manifest from a place of lack. They anchor their dreams in future timelines. When I have this, then I'll feel that. But this very structure creates an energetic postponement. It tells the universe, I am not yet ready. And the universe, always in resonance, responds, then not yet. To understand this, imagine your present moment as fertile soil. Every emotion you feel, every thought you energize, is a seed. You may speak the words of abundance, but if the emotional soil is dry with anxiety or saturated with control, what grows will echo that energy. You may dream of love, but if your now is steeped in fear or judgment, the vibration you emit is defensive, not receptive. The now is not a placeholder. It is not a waiting room. It is the only workshop of reality. Everything you create, everything you become, begins here. Not in the version of you you wish to be, but in the version of you that is willing to feel, honestly, fully, what is alive now. There is a false belief that feeling pain or doubt in the present moment disqualifies you from manifesting joy or abundance. But the opposite is true. When you become radically honest with your now, when you stop resisting it and start listening to it, you unlock its alchemical power. The power to transform the very fabric of your vibration. Presence is not passive. It is participatory. It is the art of tuning in so deeply to your current emotional frequency that you can, with compassion, begin to shift it, not by force, but by awareness. Joe Dispenza speaks of this as the quantum moment, the second you become conscious of your unconscious. When you feel your habitual tension, and instead of reacting, you breathe. When you notice your scarcity thoughts, and instead of spiraling, you choose gratitude. Not because you're trying to fix the moment, but because you're beginning to understand. This moment is where creation lives. Think of the present as a tuning fork. Every time you align with trust instead of fear, with openness instead of control, you change the pitch. And that new resonance becomes your broadcast. Not tomorrow, not when the money arrives or the healing completes. Now. This is why so many well-intentioned practices, vision boards, manifestation journals, scripting rituals, can become subtly disempowering if they are done from a place of escape. If they're used to avoid what you feel, rather than transform how you feel. The present moment is not a prison, it is a portal, and to walk through it, you must be willing to meet it. This doesn't mean ignoring your desires, it means embodying them. now. What would it feel like to live with the emotional frequency of peace even before your circumstances validate it? What would it feel like to express gratitude, not as a technique but as a truth, simply because you are here, breathing? Awake to the mystery? The future you seek is not ahead of you. It is beneath your feet, growing from the energy you plant in this instant, moment by moment, breath by breath, feeling by feeling. And if you learn to see the now, not as something to fix, but as something to feel, not as a problem, but as a place of power, then you unlock a truth that changes everything. The present is not preparation for your dream. It is the dream awakening. So you begin to honor the present, not as a detour, but as the very place where life unfolds. You slow down. You feel more. You realize that your vibration is not a future outcome, but a current alignment. And then, something unexpected begins to surface, the habit of effort. You've been taught to try harder, to push, to prove, to earn your breakthroughs. And in many areas of life, this belief has served you. Effort, after all, is rewarded in school, in work, in achievement. But in the realm of manifestation, in the subtle space of energy and alignment, trying harder doesn't bring you closer. It often pushes you further away. This is the paradox that confuses and frustrates many seekers. The more you try to manifest something, the more you unconsciously affirm that it is not yet yours. Every ounce of strain, every compulsive visualization, every obsessive repetition sends a silent message. This is still missing. And the universe, always responding not to your effort but to your vibration, echoes that lack right back to you. Energetically, this creates what could be called a vibrational echo, a loop of resistance. You're not just focusing on the goal, you're also amplifying the tension that surrounds it. You may say, "I want to feel free," but the desperation in your voice carries the signature of imprisonment. You may whisper, "I believe it's coming," but your nervous system pulses with doubt, with need, with waiting. This is not laziness, it's misalignment, and it stems from a deeper emotional misunderstanding, the belief that worth must be earned, that receiving must be justified. But manifestation isn't about force, it's about frequency. And frequency doesn't arise from pressure, it arises from coherence, a sacred state where your thoughts, emotions, and body are aligned, where your being becomes the reality you seek, not through struggle, but through embodiment. Imagine standing in front of a lake. You want to see your reflection clearly, so you lean in, you squint, you reach out to touch it. But the more you move, the more the water ripples, the image blurs. It is only when you become still, deeply, sincerely still, that the reflection returns in clarity. The same is true of your energy. When you stop trying to force outcomes, you allow clarity to arise naturally. Joe Dispenza describes this as the state of elevated emotion, not the excitement of external reward, but the inner resonance of peace, joy, gratitude, wholeness. When these emotions are sincerely felt, they create coherence between your brain and heart. This isn't poetic metaphor, it's measurable energy. Coherent brain-heart waves generate magnetic fields that influence not just your inner biology, but the outer quantum field. And here's what's profound. When you are emotionally congruent, when your inner world genuinely matches the vibration of what you desire, manifestation becomes effortless. Not because you don't care, but because you no longer need the result to feel whole. This is not detachment as indifference. It's detachment as alignment. You're not giving up. You're tuning in. You're no longer trying to drag the future into your hands. You're becoming the version of yourself that is already living it, energetically, emotionally, spiritually. And when you do, something subtle but undeniable shifts. You stop chasing. You start magnetizing. Let's take a simple example. You desire love, so you meditate on a future partner. You visualize your life together. You write letters to the universe. But beneath it all, there's a quiet urgency. When will they come? That urgency, though small, carries the vibration of lack. So you begin to shift. You ask instead, how can I embody the feeling of love now? You spend time in nature, you care for your body, you open your heart in small ways, and suddenly the vibration changes. You are no longer seeking love, you are becoming it, and the field responds. This is why trying harder can actually repel what you seek. Because effort, when it's driven by fear or lack, distorts your signal. It says to the universe, I am not enough without this. And yet the entire structure of manifestation rests on a deeper truth. You are already enough. Your vibration is not a request. It is a statement of being. So the question shifts. It is no longer, how do I get what I want? But how do I become the frequency of what I desire? And the answer is not found in more doing. It's found in more being. Breathe that in. Let it settle. Because the real power does not come from trying harder. It comes from resting deeper into the truth that you are already worthy, already whole, already vibrating the seed of everything you wish to create. And so you soften. You stop chasing and start becoming. You release the tension of trying and begin to embody the feeling. Something in you relaxes, a sacred exhale, and in that quiet, a deeper question rises. If manifestation is about alignment, not effort, how do I enter that state? How do I hold the vibration of what I seek, not just in meditation, but in the rhythm of daily life? The answer is not far away. In fact, it lives inside you, in a memory, a moment, a state of being you've already known. It is the frequency of coherence, and it can be accessed, cultivated, and anchored into your nervous system, one breath at a time. This is the essence of emotional coherence anchoring, the practice of returning, intentionally, consistently, to an elevated emotional state that you have already experienced, not imagined, not hoped for, but truly felt. A moment where you were at peace, a moment where you felt powerful, a moment where you belonged, deeply, naturally, to yourself and to the flow of life. It doesn't need to be grand. Maybe it was a quiet walk at dawn, the way the sunlight hit your skin, a moment of deep laughter, the presence of someone who made you feel seen. These are not just memories. They are emotional codes, frequencies your body already knows. And because your body has already felt them, it can feel them again. So here is the practice. Find your emotional anchor. Choose a memory that carries a vibration you wish to live in. Peace, love, gratitude, confidence. Close your eyes. Re-enter that moment, not just as an image, but as a full sensory immersion. What did you feel in your chest? What energy moved through your spine? What was the rhythm of your breath? Use your breath as the bridge. Begin to breathe in a way that matches that memory. Let your inhale expand the emotion. Let your exhale ground it in your body. Your breath becomes the rhythm of coherence, a silent tuning fork between the emotional and physical realms. Feel it fully and often. The goal is not to recreate the moment, but to reactivate the frequency. To remind your nervous system, this is what safety feels like. This is what alignment feels like. This is what power feels like. And the more familiar it becomes, the less your subconscious will resist it. This is not spiritual escapism. This is nervous system reconditioning. You are not escaping the present. You are reprogramming it. Gently, consistently, you are teaching your body to live in the emotional reality of your vision. Because here's the secret. Your subconscious does not distinguish between what is imagined and what is real. It only responds to what is felt consistently. And when you feel an elevated state often enough, with sincerity and presence, your subconscious begins to accept it as truth. Your body relaxes into it. Your energy begins to radiate it. And suddenly, what once felt like effort now feels like home. This is why emotional coherence anchoring is so powerful. It bypasses the mind's resistance. It bypasses the need to believe harder. It speaks directly to the emotional body, the true seat of your vibration. And once your emotional body accepts a new state as normal, your reality begins to reshape itself around it. This is not magic. It is magnetic truth. You become like a tuning fork. When your thoughts, emotions, and energy vibrate in harmony, the outer world cannot help but resonate with you. Not because you forced it, but because you became it. So remember this: manifestation is not a finish line. It is not a reward for effort or a result of control. It is the natural consequence of internal alignment. It is the echo of coherence. It is the song your life sings when you are no longer out of tune with yourself. And when you anchor that coherence, daily, deliberately, gently, you unlock a power that needs no proving, a power that does not shout, a power that simply is, because the universe is not waiting to give you what you want. It is waiting for you to remember who you already are. You are not broken. You are becoming coherent. You are not behind. You are building frequency. You are not waiting. You are awakening now, always now.